Come on now, Ripple. Come on. To capture the value of a projected 16 trillion tokenized economy, institutions need more than just storage. They need resilience. At Ripple, we provide a security environment that mirrors the rigor of the banks we serve. We combine HSM and FIPS certified hardware to deliver security that scales, protecting assets without sacrificing operational speed. But legitimate integration with the global financial system requires verification. That is why we strictly adhere to SOC 2 Type 2 and ISO 27001 standards, ensuring your infrastructure is not just powerful but compliant. That keyword, compliant. People be like, they're a bitch though, they're compliant. That's the only way you're gonna make the moves in this space, bro. I'm sorry. The 16 trillion opportunity is so wild to even say out loud. 16 trillion. That's just that's not even taking into account literally all the other use cases, bro. For payments, for flows, for derivatives, for X, for Y, for Z, hidden road service, the just ones being locked up in ETFs and treasuries. There's only going to be so much to go around. Not just with XRP for a lot of them. They're actively scooping it up as we speak. So the Vanguard CEO on Bitcoin ETFs in 2024. We'll never offer Bitcoin ETFs. We're not going to change our minds around this. 2025, that person isn't CEO anymore. Bitcoin ETF trading starts tomorrow. A crypto trade. Why are they so obsessed with saying Bitcoin, bro?
Spot Bitcoin ETFs. Question came in, hey, we know you're not offering one. Have you changed your mind? What would it take for you to change your mind? We don't plan to, and we don't.
Get that old fuck out of there.
We're not going to change our minds around this. Unless the asset class changes. Yep. First of all, we don't believe it belongs. Like a Bitcoin ETF belongs in a long-term portfolio. Someone's saving for retirement. It's a speculative asset.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, that's exactly
funds that we offer invest in asset classes that actually have underlying cash flow. So, like we mentioned stocks, you're buying the forward earnings of a company.
That's right.
And that bond, right,
has coupon and principal payments.
Yeah, you're going to pay me back and you're paying me something for lending you the money.
Exactly.
Right, so they both can be valued. And that's, for us, we understand why they would rise up in a portfolio and the role they will play, and we can model them. Something like Bitcoin is just too volatile, and it's not a store of value. It hasn't been. And
I'd agree with that.
It's very volatile. When stocks got hammered in recent crises, that Bitcoin went right with them. And so it is speculative. Really tough to think about how it belongs in a long-term portfolio.
It's just a manipulation pig right now. That's really kind of what it is. Like what they're saying, they use it to manipulate. Well, partly. I mean, but it's really wild to see them saying that, because on both hands, it's scary. If he truly is that oblivious to the technology of crypto and other things in the sphere. Yeah, Bitcoin, just like how Jamie Dimon, he's very vocal about it. Granted, they both have conflicts of interest against it, so, But the level playing field, man, the level playing field is what is the only thing we've wanted. We officially, now, in the community, you can't bitch about XYZ anymore. Granted, I don't really know what there is to bitch about. Obviously, the price manipulation and suppressing everything, but in terms of Vanguard. They just opened the floodgate. They literally did. Granted, yet again, doesn't show in the price yet. But yeah, no, they're just gonna open it today, and it's gonna stay the fucking same price. It's forever. It's gonna go down forever. It's gonna go negative. No, in my mind, no. Was Bitcoin the beta test experiment to demonstrate the viability of a fully decentralized, censorship-resistant monetary network?
The three other gentlemen here is that over the foreseeable future, the U.S. dollar, the fiat U.S. dollar, is going to continue to lose purchasing power.
That's true.
I think you would agree with that.
Yep.
They also seem to think that that trend will push the rest of the world to de-dollarize and over time de-dollarize in favor of sound money. That might be Bitcoin. Larry's arguing that. It might be gold. Peter's arguing that. It might be some sort of hard asset-backed BRICS currency. That's what Russ was just arguing there.
That's what I think. Tokenized
I think that you
gold,
might think
tokenized.
differently, and I think stablecoins may play a role in your answer. Can you explain that as much as you can in the remaining 9 minutes we have?
Sure. So I'll give so my speech later today, I think I'm on at noon or 12:30 or something. We'll go over this in detail. But essentially, what I think is happening is that the technology that was developed in the private market by the Bitcoin and the digital assets and crypto, I think woke the United States and other countries up to the fact that they could no longer just rest on their laurels and, you know, use the fact that they could enforce legal tender laws to keep their money as the medium of exchange. And in many ways, I would argue that, you know, the whole rollout of digital assets and the rise of Bitcoin was maybe the greatest beta test in history to see whether it would be adopted, whether it would work, how fast it would work,
A lot of people think
how tough
that.
it would be to regulate. But I think they have now started to adopt that private technology on a regular or on a regulated and official state sponsored basis. And you've heard Scott Bessent talk about it. You've heard some other you know, government leaders talk about it. They passed a Genius Act earlier this year, which is a way to regulate stablecoins, and it talks about, you know, what they can and can't do. And essentially, a stablecoin is a digital token that can be, you know, passed around the world instantaneously, settles instantly, and then that token is tied to some other asset. So you don't buy a stablecoin thinking it's going to increase a lot in value like some of the, it's not like a Dogecoin or a Bitcoin where you're expecting it to rise in value. What it is it's tied to some other asset, and it should stay stable versus that asset. So you could have a gold stablecoin, which is I think what Peter was talking about, or a gold token, and it will, that token will stay stable versus the price of gold. It may not stay stable versus the dollar or Bitcoin or something else, but that token will track gold. 99% of the stable coins already in existence are already tied to the United States dollars. And the reason that's important is because that was the private market entrepreneurs meeting demand that people wanted to hold dollars. It's not 99% US dollars because the market wanted 99% gold and they said, no, we're giving you dollars anyway. That was driven by the free market. And I think the United States now realizes that it can adopt that technology and use it as a way to not only help fund itself going forward. We all know about the challenges the United States has in funding itself, but more than that, they can use it as a digital weapon, for lack of a better way of saying it, to dollarize the rest of the world rather than de-dollarize the rest of the world. Because as much as we as Americans sit here and talk about how bad the dollar is, for many other citizens around the world, the dollar is much better than their local currency. And all you have to do is, next time you travel, just talk to them. Ask them whether they would rather hold their local currency or a US dollar. Most times they will say a US dollar, especially if you're traveling to an emerging country or a developing country. For them, they look at the US dollar as stability. Now, we in this room may think that's ridiculous. We may not like it. But the market says that is the case. That's not me saying it. That's the market telling me that's what they're saying.
Otherwise.
And so I think the future is going to be some kind of a combination of government-issued fiat as well as the digitized technology and innovation that's been developed over the last 10, 15 years.
He's on the money. Yo, get this guy a fucking cosmic brownie. Get him one. No, it's only going to be Bitcoin. No, it's not. Not only Bitcoin, sorry. So this is a scoop from Eleanor Terrett. She says, Bitnomial to launch first CFTC-regulated spot crypto trading. Derivatives exchange Bitnomial is preparing to offer spot crypto plus market structure talks come down to the wire. So according to the November 13th filing, the rules officially went into effect on Friday, suggesting that spot trading could launch in the coming days. Wow. The Chicago-based company filed self-certification paperwork last month under CFTC regulation, a rule that allows registered designated contract markets to implement new rules once they certify compliance with the Commodity Exchange Act. Bitnomial's self-certified rules cover the listing of spot products, including retail leverage spot under CEA, enabling customers to directly buy, sell, and finance digital assets on the exchange. Yeah, this is all just happening at the same time. Yeah, just coincidence. Just another coincidence. That's what it is. You know, that's what you chalk it up to. Bank of America expects the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates next week. Yeah, Polymarket's pricing that in. Would be fucking wild. Would a 50-point, but the thing is, it's coming. And whether they do it, because he's out of here soon and Trump already knows who he's picking. We think it's that Hassett guy, someone from Coinbase. Still have to look into him. But when he gets in there, he's going to do what Donnie wants. And what Donnie wants, Donnie's going to get. Whether you like it or hate it, that's the whole point of why he's picking that guy. Yeah, everyone acts like Vanguard finally caved in on making crypto ETFs available to their clients. All of Wall Street is coming. They've always been coming. Lies and misdirection are just part of the game. Noticing a pattern yet?
Well, I'm not. We are not having those conversations, and maybe they're talking to somebody else. So I don't want to suggest that we have
they were talking to someone
information, but our broad-based client relationships we've had very little interconnectivity on the conversation on crypto, other than a fascination. I can tell you, it is the amount of conversations we're having on climate risk and how they should navigate portfolios is a major component of the conversation. The conversations about our deficits and the conversations we're now having on inflation risk is far more dominant with our clients worldwide than the whole conversation about crypto. But if you're asking me specifically about
But that's the solution to get around it. That and gold.
long-term investing
and silver
from sovereign wealth funds, from pension funds, from retirement services, from big family offices, the conversation about crypto is a very minor conversation compared to so many other conversations.
Yeah. Okay. Is that not a weird response? Oh yeah, the climate risk. Really? That's their biggest concern right now? Okay. I miss this crazy bastard teaching us how to make a get ready for work vodka. Godspeed wherever you may be, sir. Legend. I'm just now. Someone did recommend a documentary. I got to check that out.
Good morning. John McAfee here. This is my mixology class so that you can learn how to make the get ready for work vodka. Now, getting ready for work is very important. It's morning time here. I get ready for work every day like this. First, you take the vodka. I prefer Tito's, and Tito's is paying me nothing. Now, it's very important that you pour the right amount of vodka. All right? None of this silly stuff, right?
Yo, why is the dude in the back with a rifle, bro? He's not even fazed by this? Come on.
All right.
That's a nice rifle.
Now, I prepared this glass by putting, not simple, so hang on, where's my triple sec? Anyway, here we go. Triple sec in the bottom, blue curacao at the end. Just a tiny, tiny dash. Let's do it. Well, nothing left to do. Then, piece of lemon peel.
Nice.
Swirl it around. Then,
oh, stop it, dude. That's insane.
yes, so this is how you do it. Thank you very much.
Oh my god. I'm gonna watch that documentary ASAP. The ringing of the bell aligning with the ship is just, it's so it's such a coincidence, right? It's not, he's not fulfilling the prophecy, this guy, this bearable guy, right? It's just really, dude, what are the fucking odds? What if this maybe symbolizes, all right, everyone's having fun at the table right now, all sorts of different characters. It's a casino. It's a casino. It's a literal fucking circus going on in this market right now. But then the big guy comes and ring the bell. Okay, kids, dinner time. Ding, ding. The Mac Daddy's here. The Mac Daddy's officially here. Is that what's going on in this picture? And then I remember they were diving in saying, even looking into the king, and you can see the king has a peg leg. This would be insane if Paul Atkins shows up and he has buttons like that. Holy shit. Holy shit. Yeah, the crypto ETFs and mutual funds have been tested through periods of market volatility, performing as designed while maintaining liquidity. It's time, dude. The test is up. It's officially over. It's here. This is awesome. Oh, Kevin O'Leary. What is Kevin O'Leary spouting off? Usually when there was a correction in the market, all of the altcoins, and there are thousands of them, would have a large correction, but they would bounce back. This time, they're not bouncing back, and the reason that is occurring is very simple. Investors have figured out you only need to own 2 positions to capture 97.5% of all the alpha of crypto. That's Bitcoin itself and Ethereum. If you own those 2, it doesn't matter what happens anywhere else because everything else is moving with a much higher volume to the downside and not recovering anymore because they have no use case. Yeah, let me hear this for myself.
Bitcoin's down roughly 32%.
That's a wild statement.
Its latest all-time high of 126,000 in early October.
It's their audio.
As low as $80,000.
His social media team
sucks. So Kevin, do you expect to see a near-term rebound in Bitcoin, or do you anticipate further selling?
I think there'll be a little bit more selling. Let me explain the backdrop to what's happening here in the crypto markets.
Yeah, tell me, Kevin.
It goes back to when the Genius Act was passed, which made stablecoins legal. That took a little air out of Bitcoin because there was a narrative for years that Bitcoin would become a form of digital currency.
Nope.
And that has been replaced now by the legal aspect of stablecoins. And so if you look at the volume of stablecoins being used internationally, they're very active because now it's legal tender. So you can use it in Switzerland or Saudi Arabia or wherever. Choose the stablecoin of your choice. And the banks themselves, in the U.S., money center banks, are moving ahead with their own versions of stablecoins. And so when it comes to the narrative of should you own Bitcoin for a digital currency or a payment settlement system, the answer is no. It's a pure speculation like gold is. So that took a bit of air out of it. But it's what's going on everything else that is causing a little chaos in the market. Let me explain that. We have a new act coming through Congress called the Clarity Act, which solves the problem as to whether Ethereum is a commodity or a security and on and on and on. And there are thousands of tokens. But usually when there was a correction in the market, you would have all of the altcoins or rat coins or, excuse my French, shit coins, whatever you want to call them, and there are thousands of them. They would have a large correction, but they would bounce back. This time, they're not bouncing back. And the reason that is occurring is very simple. Investors have figured out you only need to own 2 positions to capture 97.5% of all the alpha of all crypto. That's Bitcoin itself and Ethereum. That's all I own now. If you own those 2, it doesn't
When was this released? 18 hours ago.
Matter what happens anywhere else because everything else is moving with a much higher vol to the downside and not recovering anymore because they have no use case. So Ethereum gives you exposure to the blockchain, which is, for 12 years been discussed in financial services, and Bitcoin is the granddaddy digital gold, if you wish. You don't need to own anything else. Now, there's a Solana story, and Solana's done a very good job of spending millions in marketing to get on the tickers the same way that Ethereum and Bitcoin are. Unfortunately, into the narrative, due to some malware recently, there was this concern about security on trading systems skimming fees on Solana. And that Solana blows itself up every 6 to 8 weeks with a story like that. So it's not secure enough the way Ethereum is, at least in the perceived market. So you don't even need that one. You just need ETH and Bitcoin. And I'm not sure when that's going to change. Unless you can spend millions of dollars in marketing and give a use case for your shitcoin or your altcoin or your ratcoin or whatever the hell you want to call it, no one is going to even pay any attention to it. And it will stay down where it is now. Some of these coins are down 70, 80%. We haven't seen that in years. So the era of the shitcoin is over, and now people will really look at use case. And for that, all you need is Bitcoin and Ethereum. There's a synopsis for you. At least that's the way I'm investing in it.
Oh, I cannot believe it. This is recent. He changes his tune. He changes his tune every other day, this guy. He's the talking head for Solana, Ethereum, everything else but XRP or Link or Stellar or any other one doing actual fucking work in the world. That's it. Then he threw Solana and ETH under the bus literally during the flash crash. Both of them. He's always trashing lately, ETH and Solana. Look at his track record. Now all of a sudden, no, it's only Bitcoin and that's it. It's only Bitcoin and Solana. I mean Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now Solana ain't even good enough, but he cannot mention XRP. He's in mutual funds. He's been in that fucking business, the regulation business. Like, that's how you know this is such bullshit. He's talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum remain. Maybe they do. I think maybe they will do well. I think they will do well. I don't know, man. He gets me because he's so clearly being manipulated to some extent, and it's like dude, you can't fucking trust anything these guys say because it just doesn't jive with reality. Oh, this was pretty interesting. Solana, speaking of fucking Kevin O'Leary hating on Solana now. Breaking, all prediction markets on Kalshi are now tokenized on Solana. That's pretty tough, I'm not going to lie. The biggest players in finance get it. MasterCard, Standard Chartered, Bain & Company, Centurion, Stellar, and BX Digital all share one message. You see Stellar in the conversation with that? Ondo's backed by BlackRock, and I think one other large entity, but BlackRock has some funding in that shit.
There are globally millions and millions of people
who've never been able to access certain asset classes.
That historically have been either gated or very expensive.
The promise of tokenization is to democratize access.
Increasingly, we are seeing folks getting access to new financial products.
It's products that were previously not accessible, whether that is simply an yield-generating product.
Like money market funds from Franklin Templeton and others.
and making it all more inclusive.
How people in emerging markets get access and inclusion into financial markets, even just with a smartphone.
Like what email did to communications.
So that gives people a simple way to access their stablecoin and crypto holdings, being able to spend anywhere.
Yes, sir.
MasterCard is accepted in the last count, 160 million locations.
Via tokenization, all those people now have access to global assets, US capital markets, and assets that they really want.
I believe that access will only continue to expand.
When I say access, I mean for everyone.
For everybody.
We are so on the fucking launch pad in the engines. I swear to God, the engines are roaring fucking full throttle right now. How can it not be? Everything's lining up yet again for the grand scheme. Yet again, probably Besant and Trump and now Hassett and Sachs. This whole thing, I think he really needs, and they're pushing for, having this whole everything. The market's juicing to the gills, maybe getting the checks out right before midterms. He needs that political win. You'd hope that that's what the end game would be, because that would be the best for our bags, and we see it coming. It's before our eyes. So they're trying to say this post was fake, the video I saw the other day, or I did it on Patreon, I think, covering this. I'm not sure. Yeah. So they're saying Flake and his colleagues tested the setup for up to 4 weeks on 8 fetal lambs that were 105 to 120 days into pregnancy, about equivalent to human infants at 22 to 24 weeks of gestation. So what do you mean? So what? Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's what I assumed. I assumed that they didn't grow it from scratch, you know, some fucking baking soda. Making comments to this post clearly have no idea what the agenda is. I've been warned about this tech for decades, but not as long as insider Aldous Huxley in Brave New World 1932. Of course, the tech is being sold as saving premature babies, but it is part of the tick to technologically produced humans genetically and psychologically developed to be ignorant, compliant automatons. What? The tech to do this already exists in the underground military bases and secret projects, and the only means and excuse to play it out in the public arena remains. The techniques displayed here are only what is currently allowed to be seen. It's way back off the secret cutting edge. That's so scary to think about, dude. This guy's a little bit out there, David. I'm gonna follow him though. He has crazy theories about like lizard people and all this shit. Just interesting lessons too. But I mean, yeah, whatever we're seeing publicly, they have 100 times over. Where do we think all the money goes? The money goes to literally anything but the people. And a lot of it goes to the military. You know how much, dude? It's Ozark. It's the greatest episode of Ozark, dude. It's the ultimate scam. Everyone's getting their cut. I mean, none of the money goes anywhere. They just tell you too, like the Pentagon. I forget when they said that, but there was an audit and they were missing a couple of trillion or billion, and they just go, yeah, we don't know where it went. Okay, all right, you don't know where it went. Sorry. This seems like a crazy video. When Tom Cruise told the truth about the prescription medication epidemic. Guys, support on Patreon. Join the group. Patreon, link in the description below. In case they ever nuke the YouTube channel, that's where we can go. Exclusive videos there.
Here we are today, where I talk out against drugs and psychiatric abuses of electric shocking people, against their will, of drugging children with them not knowing the effects of these drugs. Do you know what Adderall is? Do you know Ritalin? Do you know now that Ritalin is a street drug? Do you understand that?
The difference is this was not against her will, though. But this wasn't against Brooke's will.
Matt, I'm asking you a question.
I understand there's abuse of all of these things.
No, you see, here's the problem. You don't know the history of psychiatry. I do. All it does is mask the problem, Matt. And if you understand the history of it, it masks the problem. That's what it does. That's all it does. You're not getting to the reason why. There is no such thing as a chemical imbalance. I'm saying that drugs aren't the answer, that these drugs are very dangerous. They're mind-altering, antipsychotic drugs. And there are ways of doing it without that so that we don't end up in a brave new world.
Yes, there are abuses. And yes, maybe they've gone too far in certain areas. Maybe there are too many kids on Ritalin. Maybe electric shock.
Too many kids on Ritalin, Matt.
I'm just saying, but aren't there examples where it works?
Matt, you don't even, you're glib. You don't even know what Ritalin is. If you start talking about chemical imbalance, you have to evaluate and read the research papers on how they came up with these theories, Matt. Okay? That's what I've done.
Yeah, we're here to talk about Talkbeyond, dude.
Where's the medical test? Where's the blood test that says how much Ritalin you're supposed to get?
it's very impressive to listen to you because clearly you've done the homework and you know the subject.
And you should. And you should do that also because just knowing people who are on Ritalin isn't enough. You should be a little bit more responsible in knowing
I'm not prescribing Ritalin, Tom, and I'm not asking anyone else to do it.
Well, you are. You're saying no.
I know some people who seem to have been helped by it.
But you're saying, but it's like this is a very important issue. This is
couldn't
a very,
agree more.
and you know what? And you're here on the Today Show,
right?
And to talk
Today
about
Show.
it in a way of saying, well, isn't it okay, and being reasonable about it when you don't know, and I do. I think that you should be a little bit more responsible in knowing what it is, because you communicate to people.
Yo, Top Gun. Top Gun. Yo, shut your face, Top Gun. Yo, he's laying into that guy. He's like, you need to be better. You work on the Today Show. That's it. People look up to the Today Show, bro. I'm telling you. Now, he's speaking facts, though, a little bit. All right, robust licenses. Actually, guys, hit the like button, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications. I'm going to wrap the video here. Appreciate you. It helps out the YouTube video. And so join our group, The Minutemen, linked in the description below. Exclusive videos there, multiple of them a week. And that's where we go if the YouTube channel goes bye-bye. So, peace out.